let's see. Put mic straighten out here. Testing.
Oops, it'll be 1 second on the red.
Yes, 1, 2.
That's strong. Okay, I'll hold it down here so I won't blow your ears out. All right, good morning. I'm Todd Rowan. I'm the CEO of Rewards.com, and this is Bradley. Hi.
Bradley.
Zastrow. Yes. I want to make sure I get your last name right.
It's not an easy one, but I'm the global head of business travel for Dashboard Group, who manages or works with the Dash Network.
So we're here today to talk about adoption in cryptocurrency, and we all know that's a struggle for us. But if we remember...
Oh, that's
that little mark with the A and then the ring around it?
At?
See, that's what I said. Mm-hmm. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never heard it.
Around.
I'd never heard it said. There it is. Violence at NBC GE.com. I mean...
Well, Allison should know.
What is internet anyway?
I'm afraid that if I subscribed to something like internet,
You would really be hooked.
I would get hooked and I would never, spend time with my family.
What do you write to it like mail?
Well, as I mentioned, I have no desire to be a part of the internet because I feel like I'm so inundated with information all the time that I don't want more.
Yeah, and of course, none of us want any more internet. We always compare, crypto to, the .com and starting up, and there really is a very good comparison. Nobody knew what the internet was when it was coming out. It was just kind of a strange environment. It wasn't used for anything good, certainly. It could only be, used by bad people and deviants, and, So I see a lot of analogies the same with crypto. And it is a slow adoption process. It took us, the adoption of the internet. It took businesses getting involved. It took a lot of creation of, new ideas that, started out. A lot of them failed. Some of them succeeded. And then we kind of had the second wave. So I see us in the crypto market we're just on the edge of that. I think we're just starting into the edge of that second wave of businesses. So what's it really going to take for adoption to take place? Well, adoption, you got to make it easy for consumers. You got to make it something that they can absorb. It's got to be simple. We can't make it very complicated. We can't have a lot of hoops that you're jumping through. Now, us on the leading edge of things, we're used to that. We're used to, we got to take our public keys and our private keys, and we got to, take them over here, and we got to put it in, this website, and, we got to jump through these hoops to, get what we want out of it. The average person, and for mass adoption, you can't do that. It's got to be easy. It's got to be simple. Let's go back there.
Which brings us to kind of some of the challenges that we face. I think right now today with cryptocurrency, the conversation is very much dominated by the tech, as rightfully it should. How does that tech provide solutions in the real world, so on and so forth. But I think, at the end of the day, what we need to bring out in that conversation is what's the value proposition to consumers? What are they giving up right now today to become adopters of cryptocurrency? And some of the things as far as what that legacy kind of value prop is, we say acquiring right now cryptocurrency is difficult. There is a friction involved and anecdotal to be sure, but as far as my parents or grandparents, etc., the concept of taking a selfie with their driver's license and emailing that to someone, particularly when they hear the message of security of personal information, the hacks that you see, that's a hurdle that's very difficult for them to get over mentally. Some of the other aspects as far as how it's different from the legacy that I think we do need to understand as far as where our consumers are coming from. The user now owns the liability when it comes to cryptocurrency. The exact opposite right now at the bank today. Somebody fraudulently charges on your credit card, you have $0 liability. Somebody is accessing your bank account, you can call back up your bank, get those funds reclaimed. That's a very different user experience compared to cryptocurrency. Additionally, as we all know, as we sometimes see on the news, you forget your password, you forget your keys, and your money's gone. That's clearly not how legacy banking works today. Again, another hurdle that we have to kind of work through. And again, just kind of going back to that liability, you don't have that redress process. You don't have some of those other kind of consumer benefits. I know there's a lot of disadvantages, for example, with legacy banking, but at the same time, the way consumers right now perceive that banking system, there are those benefits, and we do need to be able to address, to really be able to kind of effectively communicate cryptocurrency and why people should be using that moving forward. Next slide. So how do we do that? How do we move the needle? And I think, again, kind of as I was saying before, we need to, obviously, we've got two main customers kind of in this play, which is really around the businesses and the individual consumers or those users. At Dash specifically, we feel that we are making that impact. We're focusing very much on being a payment network. That is our use case, and we have specific strategies right now that we're focusing on to go ahead and obviously address that. On the tech side, there are some advantages that, I guess realistically speaking, are kind of both addressing consumers as well as businesses.
Hey, you guys are working, with your new updates and stuff out to make it easier for consumers, right?
That's correct. From the tech itself, right now Dash addresses adoption really around the ease of use, and that's again what we're trying to do. An example of this is Venezuela, which is what we're seeing right now as really our number 2 market as far as website visits, etc. The U.S. is still number 1. And among many things, what we've just launched is a partnership with Crypto Mobile, which is a new mobile phone brand. Even though they've been in business for, I believe it's about 20 years, building brands for the Latin American market. This is low-cost phone, $100 US, give or take slightly less, and it's a smartphone. Why did we look at the mobile phone platform as a key way to move to adoption? First thing you need for cryptocurrency is internet access. Beyond anything else, you need to be online. How do people already go online today as far as shifting consumer behaviors? Mobile phone with payments is a key area.
Well, I think Dash, just to add a little bit here, I think Dash has been a great solution for some of the unbanked, especially down in Venezuela. And you're right, that mobile phone is really the only device, that a lot of the unbanked have. So you got to be able to communicate through that device and engage them with that. And
but where just to fill in on that as well, where Crypto Mobile, though, it's not just in the device. What we've actually done as well is we've preloaded on there the Dash wallet, Uphold, as well as one of our merchant partners, BitRefill, which does gift cards, phone recharges, things of that nature. What that right off the bat does is it provides that mini ecosystem right out of the box for someone that's more mainstream. Gives them a way to get Dash, store Dash, and acquire Dash, spend Dash all at once. Additionally to that, what we've provided as well is a paper wallet loaded with about 0.015 Dash. That's about $2 to $3, give or take, or about $2. And what that does is allows them to experience the concept or that experience of the QR scan. So what they'll have is they'll have a little scratchy, they'll scratch that off for their paper wallet, they'll scan that, and then they'll reclaim the funds that way. So right off the bat, building that user experience with, again, someone that's more mainstream, someone that doesn't necessarily have that tech background. What's this QR code? Well, walks them through that. Additionally, on top of that, we've got what's called Dash Help Me, which is a live help desk in Caracas. So at the end of the day, kind of going back to where legacy banking does have certain value props, one of those value props is having someone to speak to when things go wrong. Right off the bat, this is a specific group that's built, that's been stood up and funded by the network just for that exact purpose. Additionally, I think, we go back real quick. I think some of the additional elements, of course, on the tech side, Dash is obviously, we focus on being microtransaction fees, near instant transactions, anytime, anywhere. And as you can see right now, the transaction costs are just a little over a cent, between 1 to 2 cents. And again, obviously, the instant send feature or rail that we have with the Dash network, that allows for that kind of near fee, so like transaction speeds, that's required for any sort of point of sale. Dash governance model, which is our DAO, provides a proactive governance model and self-funding treasury with the way the Superblock reward is shared between miners and masternodes. Provides a 10% basically budget every month. That pays for my salary as part of Dash Core. We are a vendor of the network, and also pays for proposals that anyone can put up. Bottom line, where that's important, it's a proactive way that Dash can address business needs, also drive governance in the fact that it's a unified decision as to the direction that the network goes, and it doesn't introduce uncertainty and risk when the legacy, so to speak, players out there are actually paying attention.
I've always admired the way you have your DAO set up and funding the core group. I think it's really important that currency has a face and has the ability to actually help consumers and businesses understand how to utilize it.
Oops. There we go. So really, there's no direct solution for experience. I kind of alluded to a little bit of that with crypto mobile, scanning of the paper wallets, the fact that everything right out of the box is there, easy for someone to use. That's really one of our key approaches. And so again, if you give someone something that they can play with and fiddle with and just not have any risk in it, that's going to be an easier way for people to get to adopt anything kind of new. How do you communicate that to them rather than have them learn the ways that you're doing it? So how do you introduce crypto in a more frictionless way? Doesn't require material change to their behavior. How do you allow them again to do that experiment and make it part of their everyday lives? I think that's what we're building right now with Rewards, which if we go to the next slide. Our solution or one of our, the way we're working right now with Rewards is you can now earn Dashback on their platform. And Todd will take you through a little bit more details of the Rewards.com platform. But at the highest level, it's a way where people can already now today make payments with normal fiat credit card for a variety of around 7,000 everyday merchants. Earning Dashback as part of that value proposition creates a frictionless way for them to actually now earn Dash in a way that otherwise wasn't available to them. You don't need to mine Dash. You don't need to go through a broker. You don't need to set up an account with Exchange. Your everyday purchase at your everyday merchants, you can now earn a little bit of Dash back. That comes to the experimenting and the playing around that I alluded to as well, because when you think about it, if you're doing a $100 purchase or $200 purchase and you're earning say 2 to 3% in Dash, in at least a Western country context, that's not a lot of money. So if you only have maybe $5 or $6 in Dash, if you have to pay the piper at some point and you lose your keys or something else happens, it's not a large material impact. So it's a way that, again, you can play with it in a safe way without it actually taking down your finances.
So in this world of crypto, to get really good adoption and to really get into mainstream, it's going to take hard work with companies like Dash and Rewards. We look at Rewards as kind of a gateway currency. It's an easy way to introduce people into the crypto market, to allow them to experiment with some crypto. Rewards.com has over 7,000 merchants. You can do your everyday shopping. You buy your toothpaste and your toilet paper. You can buy virtually anything through there and earn some crypto. So why not do that? It's simple. It's frictionless for the consumer. And from a consumer's perspective, when we start looking at like the average consumer, they look at this type of program as their average point program, a program that they're already used to using. So they go in, they shop at Macy's, they buy a new pair of shoes, spend $100, they're going to get $5 back in rewards currency or Dash. And from there, they can really decide what they want to do. They can keep it within the ecosystem. They can use it within our ecosystem and redeem that currency, or they can take it out of the ecosystem. They can take it out to the crypto market, the exchange, to a private wallet, and experiment with it and learn what this is. So part of our job is about bringing consumers into the market, and that's really why we formed Rewards.com and we converted Rewards into a crypto-based program to be able to introduce consumers very easily to the crypto market. And they don't have to go and invest in a miner and understand how to do mining to earn it. They don't have to put their money into an exchange and figure out how to use an exchange and trade their fiat in for Bitcoin and Bitcoin for Dash or another type of currency. This is just an easy entry point. They just go shop, do what they do normally, do what they're going to do anyways. So Rewards.com creates this digital currency environment. So within the Rewards.com environment, essentially what we are is basically a buyer of our currency. All we do is buy our currency. We're either buying it from the consumer or we're buying it from the market to give to the consumer as a reward. So everything that we're doing is something we've been doing for the past 20 years. I've been in the loyalty and rewards industry for just a little over 20 years now. Built out a lot of the programs for the banks and the airlines, companies like American Airlines, Bank of America, Amex, Marriott, Intercontinental, and right on down the line. And with all these points programs, always had an earned piece of it, and we take in the fiat from our merchant partners. We turn that into, give it to the organization, typically for the points, so those are essentially funded points. But the points don't carry any value. The value of that didn't actually go into the point and doesn't carry with the point. So with the crypto market, we're just basically taking that value, putting it into the currency, giving you a currency that actually has value that you can circulate through the market. You can bring it into our ecosystem and redeem it. When you go to redeem it, essentially we're buying back that currency from you at whatever the current market rate is. And again, we settle with our merchant partners on the other side, just like we always have for the past 20 years in general fiat. So at the end of the day, we're really just a buyer of our currency, or the Dash currency, or whatever currency we're allowing to work through the ecosystem. So this makes it very easy on the businesses, which we have to make crypto easy on the businesses right now because they're not going to be accepting the risk or the volatility or really even know how to manage it. And then we have to make it easy on the consumers, and this is a very easy way to do it. So at Rewards, we're looking for partners. This is part of the reason that we engaged, Dash. We engaged Dash early on, mainly because they were retail payment focused. They're looking to provide retail solutions and payment solutions. We're looking to provide reward solutions. So together it makes good sense that we can work with our retail partners to provide retail and reward solutions. Now long term with Rewards, we are building our own DAO in our own environment. But we also realized early that if we just built that environment and we say, hey, we built it, come use it, it's going to be really hard to get adoption. We got to put a model on that environment that we can really show a business what the ROI is, how their currency is going to work, how the infrastructure works. So we just can't create this environment and turn them loose on it. So Rewards.com being a program, we can bring 1.5 million, 2 million consumers into that environment. We can show how a real ROI works on a substantial program, what affects their currency, how the currency flows through the system. And as other businesses come in to utilize the program, there will be both an enterprise and an open source version of the platform. So if it's a business like IHG has always been very innovative with their point program, if they come in to use the environment, we can bring them into the enterprise portion of the environment where they're fully supported. They have all the tools that they would expect to be able to run, their program, and we can show them how the ROI works and how the currency works with, Rewards.com, and we can show them how it's fungible across them. So they can white label their currency into our DAO, and then we have the open source portion of it where, I was talking to a gentleman earlier today that has a bunch of small businesses, and he wants to create a program for them. So he has the tools and the ability to create that and set those businesses up to utilize the DAO. And for them, it's a really great deal because now it becomes fungible with these bigger programs, so it gives more incentive to those small businesses to be able to bring currency in. And it's good for the larger programs because you're bringing more currency into the environment, and now they're trying to market to the consumers to bring that currency back in. So it changes around the way the businesses market. Because right now, what they're really marketing to is to give you points for that initial purchase and then keep you out of the program because that lowers their liability if they create breakage. And breakage is a big term in the industry. So they're trying to keep you out of that program and back you out of that program so that you really don't redeem those points. But if they had asset value, then that changes the market. I want to bring them back in as a marketer. So Rewards.com, we really feel like it can change the game in the whole crypto market. We feel like we can have a big impact in bringing new consumers in. I feel like we can bring millions of consumers into the program. You're going to shop, might as well earn some crypto while you're doing it, earn some points, experience what the environment is like, have an easy introduction to crypto, and that's really what it's all about. So, Dash and Rewards, we're working together to try to help adoption in the market, and ultimately that's the goal. It's going to take some hard work. It's going to take all of us working together to gain that adoption. It's going to take very creative ways to help bring new consumers into the environment. But I think once we bring them in, we really start growing the market and the ecosystem.
And I think we've got one question, or do we have time for questions still?
Questions, please.
We have plenty of time.
Oh,
okay.
Questions. Hold on just one
I thought you were giving me the 1 minute signal out there.
I can give you the 1 minute signal for, we do 20 minutes of talk and 20 minutes of questions.
Okay.
But, you guys can do a song and dance up to that point. I've got to say that I think that this is the biggest news since the BTC split last year. I mean, this is a huge deal. I'm sorry I don't have fireworks to shoot off for you guys. Now, being from New Hampshire, we're the test market for Dash, and we've seen a lot of success there. The Dash Back program that ran through AnyPay, are you familiar with it, Bradley? No, you know that it existed? Okay, we had a POS system called AnyPay, and it had a Dash Back program, which was highly successful, but probably some level of implementation needed some fine-tuning, and that's what I really want to comment as opposed to ask a question. So I remember giving a $3 tip to a bartendress at one point and getting $10 dash back, and then she did too. So she got a $13 tip. I got a $7 tip for giving a tip, and obviously we need to figure out some way to give a sort of a percentage or some small amount. But the idea that we can get crypto into people's hands is, in this way that they're familiar with, I think a really big deal.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think, generically speaking, I think painting with a broad brush, a lot of coins or cryptocurrencies out there, they try to do that via airdrops. And I guess, from my perspective, it's how do we make an airdrop actually a little bit more useful for the individual that's receiving it, as well as ultimately more useful for the network that's providing that. And the way I think we're doing that is, for example, with with the rewards in Dash. It's not an airdrop, but you are doing really kind of nothing new, so to speak, as far as to earn your Dash. So it's still, I guess, going back to airdrop, that's an easy way to get crypto. Here's an easy way to get crypto, but it is building in the user experience that, again, people are already used to, and it's introducing it in that very safe way. All of a sudden, you're linking that together with, okay, I'm making a payment, I'm receiving Dash back, there's a reward element that's associated with it, versus an airdrop that just kind of comes and drops. And even an airdrop, you still already have to have some level of adoption anyway, right? What's my address, The other way I think we're doing that is with, say, what I talked about with crypto mobile, where there's the Dash within that ecosystem of the phone, so that therefore, again, they're reclaiming that Dash, but they've got an immediate use for it right off the bat.
So
Sorry, you had
I want to add to that just a little bit. With rewards, we realize consumer adoption is always a challenge, no matter what the business model is. You have to fight for those consumers. Rewards is a great platform for that consumer adoption because ultimately what we're talking about is it's gamification. It's being able to try to create something interesting and simple over and over. So part of the new launch of Rewards, and oh, by the way, I didn't mention that we're relaunching Rewards.com here right before Black Friday. What's currently up there is not the final branding and all that. So it's going to be relaunched fully, tokenized at that point. And we're going to be adding in a lot of gamifications. And actually, we already started adding a little bit of that. So right now, I think in Rewards.com, you go in, you register, you go to the game section, you can enter a contest for some NASCAR passes. We have a NASCAR that we're sponsoring. I think we're on our 7th or 8th race right now. We've got a race coming up in Dallas, a race coming up in Arizona, here with Dash, and then Miami, and I think that we're done for this year. And we'll be picking it back up next year. And then you can also go in and win an iPhone X and a Samsung Galaxy. And the crypto wheel is almost out, where you can go in and spin the wheel every day and have a chance to enter some crypto.
Okay, so I have a question for you, both of you, and thank you for last night. I have talked to Todd and Linda, not extensively, but extensively enough. There are a couple of things I want to bring out to your attention regarding loyalty apps, because I built them, and I know exactly where you guys are going with this, what you're saying. I disagree with that you have to fight for your people, because there are very much more easy and fluid ways to get people to actually adopt what you're trying to do, albeit what you guys are doing is a .com, and to send people to another website or a .com is really, it's kind of, if you would think about it, 80s in the way of marketing. In relation to your wallet, regarding how you're integrating, I didn't hear anything about integrating with the Apple Wallet or the Android Wallet, which I think engenders here, the phone, because we have Apple Pay and we have Android Pay. And that excludes those two that are the biggest. Starwood works with Apple Pay. And they have 55 or 58% revenue annually over, they just sold to Marriott for $13 billion. And that was the number one reason they sold to Marriott for $13 billion. You have 60 billion messages going out daily between customers and their businesses between WhatsApp and Facebook. You have 1.4 billion users a month on Messenger. So nothing is being said with respect to those people, and those are people that you could really hit using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, if you had your integration. But to send people to a .com and another app when there's a flood, and how many apps are built every day? I think there's over 10,000 apps that are actually put onto Apple every day, something like that. So there's another, they're making the $999,000 off of that, right? So I mean, they're making $1 million a day off of just the developer fees for $99, right? So what part are you guys going to do proactively? Because loyalty apps are everywhere. We've got them with Target, we've got them with here, we've got them with there. Everyone's got a loyalty app. It's no big deal. We don't care about getting the $3. The $3 is going to cost us too much of a headache to figure the freaking thing out. So what are you guys going to do with respect to making that simple? And with regards to your phone, like your SMS, I mean, we had 37 coins that went out, I think, like a couple years ago with SMS. We can't do that. Although Ribbits came up with some idea that's kind of cool with the SMS, and they, we found a loophole. So talking to that guy was like, mind blowing. Yeah, so I don't really dominate that, but I want to know what you guys are, have you thought about it? What are your proactive ways of reaching the people that are too lazy and are scrolling the size of the Empire State Building every day? What are you going to do for those people?
So, let me start real quick. So, as we kind of addressed earlier, when we kind of touched on things, high level. We both recognize that mobile is, the way to engage a lot of consumers, especially, a lot of consumers, don't do too much with their desktop, so that mobile device and mobile integration as well. All those marketing channels, that you talk about are channels that we've, built and accessed over the years. So what I see, going forward, with us as we start coming out with our mobile devices and mobile apps, it's really the digital identity management. And it's about that digital wallet, holding your identity. Part of the Rewards now, when we launched the second phase of this, is a big part of that wallet. And it's that digital identity that you hold that holds all your demographics, all your profile information, as well as your shopping data, your engagements, your currencies, and it helps you out with your social and your communications as well. So that is a very, very important piece of engaging people going forward.
I think from Dash's side, there's a couple things that we're doing. One of the main things is I'm a big believer in infrastructure, build the foundation. And one of the key ways that we're doing that is integrating with payment processors across the globe. Apple Pay, we would love to obviously integrate with that. I think, to be fair, I think where cryptocurrency is an adoption from where Apple's customers who are currently using Apple Pay, are they screaming to Apple that they need to use cryptocurrency